It's the Score North Twin Show.
Oh, man. Last night, Twins had a chance. Twins had a few chances. And they wind up squandering those chances and going into the ninth inning. And Duran gives up a crooked number to the Phillies. Kind of a, you know what, though? That was a very playoff-like grind of a game where you're playing the best team in baseball. The crowd's going crazy. You know, Phillies fans are also infiltrating Target Field. No score going in the ninth inning. It was, I know they were on the losing end, but now you get the rubber match today. So it's been a fun series. It's been a fun atmosphere at Target Field. It's kind of a buzzkill way for that game to end last night.
Yeah, I'm not Mr. Tell fans how to be fans, but Twins fans, take back your ballpark. When you hear a Let's Go Brewers or a Let's Go Phillies chant, counter it. Don't just sit there and be silent. Counter it. You're just going to let another ballpark, another team just take over the whole damn place?
You've hit on, yes, this has been a problem for years where it's like we as Minnesota sports fans don't know how to react when opposing fans start chanting. And we can take a page out of the WWE's book. What happens when like the fans will chant, "Let's go Cena," and then the fans that don't like John Cena will fill in the gap and say, Cena sucks. Right? Yeah. So there's a couple ways you could do it. Let's go Phillies. Phillies suck.
That'd be great.
Let's go Brewers. Brewers suck. Or you could fill it in with "Let's go Twins." Let's go Brewers. Let's go Twins.
You know what?
Booing doesn't do it. That's not the right response.
I've heard that before, where the Brewers chant has been countered. What was weird is, for the first time that I can recall on Saturday, Twins fans were literally overwhelmed. There were so many Brewers fans. Yeah. They were shouted down. They tried to start a chant and got shouted down. Now, the Phillies thing, I'm with Declan. The Phillies have a very nice, large contingent of fans here, but it's not like the Brewers. You know, it's not filled. The Twins fans could counter, Declan. You're right.
And it's still loud enough, though, to hear a Phillies chant. Let's go Phils. And that's what's
And then when they start with the football crap, that's where it gets really offensive. Eagles, Packers stuff.
Come on.
That's where you got to draw that line.
Just overwhelmed by cargo shorts over the weekend and the smell of stale beer and cheese.
Mullets.
Crusty mullets that haven't been washed in 6 days. So we'll see what happens. Declan's our resident Twins Beat podcaster. You can find these extra innings episodes. I do have a random twin of the week for you guys, but we were kicking this around on our text thread here yesterday. Let's bring it to the show. Two different national reports, and this is aggregated and summed up by our friends at Bring Me the News. I think this is Bring Me the News, right? Yeah. Joe Nelson, our guy Joe Nelson, Tiny Joe. So here's what the situation is heading up to the trade deadline. It remains to be seen whether the Twins can add much to the payroll, but acquiring a rental starting pitcher would make sense for the Twins, whose 4.47 rotation ERA ranks 23rd in the majors, writes MLB Network's Mark Feinsand. Adding a left-handed reliever and a right-handed bat could also be in the cards. ESPN's Jeff Passan is setting the same tone, writing that the Twins are among a handful of teams that might be attempting to add and subtract at the deadline, with money playing a big role in any coming decision. Quote from Passan, "Money issues continue to hinder any shot at a big move, and it's why the Twins are an add and subtract team, not simply an add team like they ought to be. If the opportunity to acquire a higher salary player presents itself, they would need to offload salary from the major league roster in that deal or another deal to cancel out the expense." So this is two very credible, plugged-in national reporters that are hearing the same thing, which is, yeah, the Twins are in buy mode, but you know, and it's all prorated at this point because, like, for instance, let's use Nathan Eovaldi, who's, you know, again, Declan and I have him near the top of the list. Now, the Rangers have won 3 straight games. They're only like 3 games under 500. I don't think the Rangers are sellers right now.
Right.
But if you wanted a pitcher of that caliber who has bona fide postseason success and experience, and his annual salary for this year is $16 million, well, we're already more than halfway through the season. It'd be like $6 or $7 million prorated. If I'm reading this right, the Twins are basically saying, or like Kikuchi with the Blue Jays, that's a $10 million salary. So prorated, he's owed like $4 million for the rest of the year. Well, the Twins already have $127, $130 million on their season-long payroll. this would be like 2.5% of that overall payroll.
Yeah,
are they reporting that like the Twins can't even up their payroll by like 2 or 3% for a stretch run?
Are they out on rentals is my question, because I did not perceive that until I read this. Like I understand they're not going to take a guy in the midst of a contract. So they're not going to take 2025 salary on, and they're going to say again, because we don't know our, TV deal. Keep in mind this Bally Sports North disaster is a 1-year contract. But are we saying, is this now saying they don't even want to take on rentals without offsetting a player to match that, Dex? Like, that's a different ball game then. Then we're talking something I didn't see coming.
Well, that's what I think I'm also confused by with like running into a wall here is I would think it makes sense to go after a rental because you're not committing to anything in 2025. So that should be your main objective here. And if that means offsetting salary, I mean, the guys that are either like on expiring deals or making big money, like Max Kepler is on an expiring deal, but Max Kepler is not going anywhere. He's playing every day. He's in the middle of their lineup still. He might be gone by this offseason, but he certainly is not being moved at the deadline. Carlos Santana,
he's one of your best
pretty
players.
Well, one of your best players. He's not going anywhere, and that really only saves you at this point like $1 million.
Right.
Manny Margot would, save you around $1.3 million if you were able to offset him, and he's got a role on this team, but I certainly wouldn't say like he is cemented in an integral part of this team. The Christian Vasquez part's the most interesting thing here. I mean, he's in the second year of a $30 million deal. He's having the worst season of his career. You would have to attach a prospect to make that happen and still eat some money. It wouldn't just be, I think, attaching a prospect and saying, here you go, take on the rest of the money. We don't want anything to do with this. But it is intriguing to me that Jair Camargo is still on this roster. So if they can offset something here, and like, Caleb Thielbar, D. Sclafani, who's on the injured list, Farmer, who's on the injured list, there are ways to trim some fat to make a trade happen. But at the end of the day, a rental is the only thing that makes sense. It's a guy on an expiring deal that you're not committing to beyond 24.
But all of them, the problem is then from a baseball operation standpoint, if you're going to attach Vasquez, the prospect ask goes up. So now you're attaching a prospect that you like way more. Like that's the thing is, basically my question is, has ownership hamstrung the baseball ops people into a position? And by the way, you also got a clubhouse of guys, as Dex has reported, who are saying, yeah, let's add pitching. We need pitching, including a shortstop who's your star player, who's saying, I've got suggestions. And you're going to tell them, well, we really can't. And if we do this, Derek Falvey, you're going to have to trade a prospect that you like because we're going to attach dead weight to him.
So yeah, the equation, there's sort of 3 parts to it. There's the pitcher that you would look like, how good is the pitcher that you're going to acquire, and then how much money does that pitcher make? And then how much money are you taking on? How much do you need to send out? And then if you need to attach Christian Vasquez's contract, which is tough because that's not expiring either, and that $10 million charge on next year's books is not appealing for anyone the way he's been playing. And he's had some flashes, but he's not a guy on the open market that would be making $10 million a year right now. So what would you have to attach? Let's say it's Kikuchi or somebody else, like just a good, solid rotation starter. Mm-hmm. And you have to send out Vasquez, or let's say the $4 million, whatever that be prorated, a couple million for D. Sclafani. What level of prospect would you have to attach to get the player that you want and to ship out a bad contract that you don't want? Yeah, but they have a chance to, like, I know it sounds crazy because they're not necessarily the Phillies. They're not necessarily the best team in baseball, but you don't have to be going into the baseball playoffs. They can win the World Series if Correa and Royce Lewis are ready to play second half of August and beyond and healthy. And if they get one more playoff caliber, really good starting pitcher and maybe a reliever, I mean, I would throw them in the mix with 5 or 6 other teams that can win the World Series. And so I'm less concerned about, I'm not giving up Walker Jenkins, not giving up Brooks Lee probably, but this is a window, man. Like, this is a window where you shouldn't be gun shy to get creative and trade a prospect or two. That's where I'm at with it.
And I don't think like the Twins are in a position where they have to like gut the farm system, go all in like the Royals or Cubs did when they won their World Series, where they're like, hey, This is it. The time is now. Let's gut it and let's see what happens. And we saw last year, I mean, when we were getting towards the end of the regular season, we all said, let's play Texas. I want to see the Rangers in the playoffs. That team's vulnerable. They don't look good. Texas ends up winning the World Series. Yeah. Now, I know that sometimes like that fun talker, like, oh, the Nationals on June 1st were the worst team in baseball, and then they won the World Series. There's a lot of cliche and arguments that I don't love that classic announcers kind of love to use in those crutch notes, but it is peaking at the right time. And in my opinion, this lineup is about to peak at the right time with getting Correa and Lewis back. The bullpen is getting supplements. Brock Stewart's back today officially. I'm curious if guys like Varland or Chris Paddock are a part of those plans long-term. The same thing happened last year where that bullpen peaked at the end of the regular season going into the playoffs. The last missing ingredient seems to be a playoff caliber starter. That's really the last missing ingredient, and it's not on the roster. It's not like the bullpen helps internal. The guys that are helping the lineup is internal. Right. There is no one like David Festa. He's going to be their long guy today. That's awesome. Zebby Matthews, awesome story in the minor leagues. There is no internal option that's going to save them in that pitching staff department.
Yeah, where's Paul Skeens, damn it? Where's your Paul Skeens? But what I want to know now, and what's now murky and not clear, and I think that, Dex, perhaps you can sniff around on this as well. But what I think is the key question now is, are you saying that you won't take on, as Phil said, a portion of an expiring contract salary? Yeah, like, if that's the case, I think they deserve to be ripped for that. Like, if they're saying, oh, Kikuchi, we can't do that unless we offset, that's ridiculous. If you say, yeah, this guy's got 3 years left, and that's a problem, I'm like, I don't love that, but I get that. But if Passan and Feinsand are now basically coming out and saying they cannot take on they cannot add any salary in a winning window a year after you finally broken 18-game playoff losing streak. I'm sorry, that does not sit well at all.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is there. We're not looking at like a $35 million player, even prorated to 20. I think the players that would potentially be in play, and we don't even know which players are all available because we're not privy to the behind the curtain discussions, and there's been no specific names necessarily reported yet. There might be closer to trade deadline day, but if it's a decision between $3, $4, $5, $6, $8 million, and you're already paying $127 million for the season, we're talking about increasing your payroll by 5% or less, and you're going to put butts in seats for playoff games, and you're going to have the same vibe. I just don't know that that's a viable amount of money to roadblock a trade. So here's another thing. So the Twins going into the season, MLB.com had the Twins prospect collection as 15th in all of baseball, but on the rise. They were 23rd midseason 2022, up to 19th preseason 2023, up to 17th midseason, now 15th. And Walker Jenkins has been great. Brooks Lee was great and emerged into the big league. So I would argue that a lot of the prospects that were ranking them 15th have actually gotten better. But then a couple weeks ago, they wind up with 4 draft picks in the first 2 rounds, if you include the competitive balance round B between rounds 2 and 3. So you add 4 top 70 players in the 2024 draft to an already fringe top 10 farm system ranking. So they've got players to, again, I'm not trading Walker Jenkins. I'm not looking to gut the whole thing, but you can trade 2 or 3 prospects and not feel like you are depleted in your prospect rankings, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have one of the best rankings in the league, and they're deep. They look good. They have internal players that are popping here. I mean, heck, they have a surplus of corner players that where do all these guys fit? Like Miranda's doing a rehab assignment today. He's probably going to rejoin the team also at some point this weekend. Royce Lewis is going to be back. Trevor Larnach is still producing at the plate. There's this logjam of players that, yes, it's easy to say, hey, if Max Kepler, see you bye, and in the offseason you can put a Matt Wallner or Trevor Larnach in right field to replace him, that's fine. But also, I just don't see a situation where, even if the Twins had Tariq Skubal a phone call away, let's just say, let's have a fun situation here. That Skubal's a possibility, a little reckless speculation.
Reckless
love where you're going right now.
Who is, in my opinion, like the least talked about pitcher. He's talked about now because he's a trade deadline commodity, but he is probably one of the 5 to 10 nastiest pitchers in the game, and legit no one gives him the credit that he deserves. Would you be willing to trade Walker Jenkins and Brooks Lee for Tariq Skubal?
Both of them, no.
What's his contract situation again? Remind me.
He's still got term left. He's got like 2 years left.
He's got some term left. I'm not sure exactly if he's pre-arb eligible or
Walker Jenkins. Yes, both of them. No,
I need to know his contract first.
He avoided arb this year. He's arb 2 next year.
Yeah, so they wouldn't take him. But
he's a UFA in 2027.
So you get 2.5 years of Skubal.
Yes,
he's still only 27 years old. I mean, I'm also the guy a few years ago in this very similar situation that notably tweeted I would trade Royce Lewis or anyone for 2.5 years of Frankie Montas, and we all know how that take turned out. I mean, in general, I'm willing to trade. Walker Jenkins to me is probably a bridge too far. Just like because I think they already have like really good top end starting pitchers. I think he's going to be fine for the playoffs. Maybe I'm being Pollyanna. I don't think they necessarily need to trade Walker Jenkins to be in a position to win the World Series. So that's where I would draw the line in this case.
If the Orioles are considering, and it sounds like it's at least being floated out there, that Jackson Holliday might be a part of a Skubal trade, I'm considering Jenkins. I think Skubal is a pure ace.
Yeah.
Like Montas was a guy who we thought would have been a nice addition for a playoff run. Skubal with the control gives you, like, he puts everyone into the slot that they probably should be, right?
But does it make you nervous that he is currently 6 innings past his previous high dating back to 2021 with 2.5 months plus a playoff run on the horizon?
Well, and Crochet is the exact same thing, too. Like, there's been talk that if a contender gets Crochet, they will short-term throw him in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And Skubal had flexor surgery at the end of 22, missed half of last year, came back, and ever since he came back last year up to this point, probably, again, one of the 5 best starting pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear here, though. I'm not, like, my problem here with these potential reports is not with the baseball operations. Like, I'm not trying to say, well, they're going to screw up. They certainly have before. But my problem here is if these reports are accurate and we're talking about, like, the Kikuchi trade, we'd love to, but you've got to take this guy. And my problem potentially is with ownership here.
But here's the thing about Skubal. Skubal is going to be, financially, Skubal is going to be a lot more of a commitment, not for this year, but as you go through the arbitration process, you're now being comped to other pitchers that, like, he's $2.5 million for the full season this year, but he's going to be arbitration. That's going to go way up the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Scott Boras client, too. Skubal.
Yeah, I don't think Scotty's too happy with the Twins these days, huh?
I don't know, man. I think Scott Boras...
Is he ever happy with anything?
That's kind of where I'm at.
Well,
I think he's just kind of a...
Here's my question. Here's my question beyond Boras to one of his clients. If this plays out, and let's say that Passan and Feinstein are exactly right, okay? Like the Twins don't go get someone, and it turns out that the owners blocked the idea. I'm curious about Correa. Because he's clearly in it to win. Like, I don't doubt him now, like seeing him. And I also think, right or wrong, that he probably does have a list of guys. Like, and they talk to him. Again, this is not a baseball ops problem. If I'm Correa and I see this team and I'm coming back and they're like, sorry, we couldn't trade for a starter because of money. I'm taking a long, hard look at, and I know the fans will say, well, he makes a ton, and you're right. But if I am Carlos Correa and I am wired like I think we clearly know he is, and ownership blocks the trade, I'm looking long and hard at my situation.
You know, to that point, competitively, if I were in his cleats, first of all, I would make sure that my cleats fit well and they weren't giving me foot problems. I would be talking to Nike, right? But I agree. Like, if I'm him, hey, I want to win a World Series, man. Like, I came here. Obviously, the money was a huge driving factor, but it's a good team. Love Royce Lewis, etc. We obviously need pitching, and he was on the record saying that. Dex and I were standing 2 feet from him as he was talking to like 5 reporters. I would be upset if I was in his position and a team that obviously needs another pitcher doesn't go and get one. So I do think it's a big week. I don't know that, like, if they didn't do it, I don't think he's demanding a trade this offseason.
Yeah, he's not.
No, he's
But,
not going to demand a trade, but I think he's going to be asking questions, and I think
Yeah.
his questions might be very legitimate.
And he's also, I mean, he had 2 teams balk at him physically for big money contracts. He was in limbo 2 straight off seasons. I do think, as much as he is a competitor and he's a captain and he definitely is like assistant GM, I think there's a comfortability here of a guy that's getting paid his money and he's the leader of this team. So yes, would it raise an eyebrow to him and start percolating a little bit? For sure. Do I think he demands out? No, I don't think he demands out.
I think
because it's a good team either way. And he's in a better situation now than he would have been with the Giants or the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the
So
Mets, he would have been
knows
at third
that.
base too. But if the Twins don't make a trade to upgrade the pitching, the next access period, I am in front of Correa's locker before he gets there.
Sure. I will add one more thing to this before investigative reporter Judd burns the clubhouse down.
No, it's Declan's
That
thing.
he knows that
Backing off.
he knows that the Twins were the only team to offer him anywhere near the money in the contract, and that applies in a trade too. So if teams were worried about his ankle 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and he's making $35 million, whatever his contract is, how willing would a team even we're going way down the road. I don't think he would be there. I think he's a Twin for the duration of his contract or toward the end of it. But teams aren't just going to be like, yes. If 2 teams' medical department said no, ticking time bomb ankle, teams aren't going to be jumping at the bit to trade to trade prospects and
Or
also
podcasts.
take on that money.
Did we just get traded?
Yeah, we got traded for Tariq Skubal.
Welcome to the Brewers show.
It's the Score North Brewer Show. So anyways, hey, random twin of the week. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Presented by Nicolay Law here. A shout out to the exclusive personal injury law firm of the Score North Twin Show. Nicolay Law, very excited about Minnesota sports. You see Russell Nicolay, Target Field, US Bank Stadium. Nicolay Law is proud to serve the Twin Cities communities that they live in. They're just normal, everyday folks that happen to have law degrees to get you the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. Also, trade deadline day is Tuesday, gentlemen, and we are hosting a Score North Twin Show trade deadline watch party at Park Tavern. So Tuesday, July 30th, 4 p.m., we're going to be at Park Tavern for the 5 p.m. trade deadline, and then 6 p.m. Twins against Mets on the East Coast. We have some fun giveaways. This is the official sports bar of the sports dad, Judd Zulgad. So come hang out with us. Score North Twin Show trade deadline watch party Tuesday at Park Tavern.
Absolutely a great time. We can we can cheers some beers to the Twins, perhaps, or the Vikings if the Twins do nothing, and enjoy some good appetizers as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be in that back room, the 11th frame. Just kind of through the bowling alley and the patio area too. Mm-hmm. We'll be hanging out. Okay, random twin of the week here. Historically, here are the standings. I have 19 wins. You guys each have 14. So someone's going to pull into solo second place here today. The last handful of random twins are Butch Weiniger, Kenny Vargas, Dustin Moore, Grant Balfour, Marty Cordova, and Carlos Gomez.
Go.
Because Judd beat me last week, I throw out the clues to you guys. You can guess whenever you want to. If one of you hits a third strike, the other one wins automatically. No Googling. Here we go.
Okay.
This random twin is a World Series champion. This random twin was a 39th round draft pick. And despite being a 39th round draft pick, was a World Series champion and played in 762 career Major League Baseball games and 12 playoff games.
Tim Laudner.
Whoa. Aggressive.
That was that was impressive.
Aggressive, dude.
I had to check we didn't do him. That's what I was worried about. I thought.
Yeah, you can control that.
I did a quick control.
That's what Judd's doing.
I had no Laudner.
Yeah.
All right, I went aggressive there. I was first pitch hunting to a degree.
I sort of admire that, Declan. I gotta be honest.
Okay, crap. No, I only got 2 left. Okay, gotta be
I
careful.
admire this.
You said 12 playoff games.
Yeah.
All were they all with the Twins?
No, they were not all with the Twins.
Okay.
Did this guy win a World Series is the question. That's the question I'm asking because I got to guess. Okay, next clue.
This random twin was worth 50 wins above replacement in his career.
Whoa.
It's not the guy I thought it might be. I thought you might be
Okay.
being tricky with the Phillies in
That's
town.
Hall of Fame. What?
4-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover. So yeah, we're not talking about just a rando here.
I was going to guess. This is not a guess. I was going to guess with the fighting Phils in town, Sam Fold.
Is that an official guess?
That's not a guess. No.
It's not a
no,
guess,
no, no.
you said.
He did
You
not
sure?
go to. I'm positive. I said I was going to guess him. I'm telling you. I'm letting you inside sports dance. Do not buzz me. I have 3 guesses left.
I think Sam Fold was only a 3-time All-Star and 4-time
Yeah.
Gold Glove winner.
But he's GM of the Phillies, so I thought I thought you might be being really creative.
This
5?
random twin did not play for the Phillies ever in his career.
Okay, all right.
I will give you that.
Okay. World Series champion.
50 WAR is like Hall of Fame.
But this random twin did grow up on a 15-acre farm as a youngin' in Florida.
All right, I got a question. Did his World
In
Series come with
Florida?
the Twins?
His World Series did not come with the Twins.
Okay. Okay, 4-time All-Star.
It came with the Yankees.
God, I
Okay, I'm gonna 50 WAR is going to be wrong, but I'm going to take a guess. Ruben Sierra.
that's who I was thinking. I'm gonna be so pissed if this is true. I'm gonna be so pissed if this is true.
It's not gonna be right.
Okay, thank God. That I was.
He's not
that-
a 50 WAR.
He's not a
But-
50 WAR.
But
Dude, hold
or
on.
a
I'm going to
five-time
look that
Gold-
up. Ruben
or
Sierra.
or a 5-time Gold Glover. I mean,
Yeah,
wasn't he more of a
yeah.
power hitter than he was a?
okay. Think.
Oh, thank God you burned that because I was gonna use it. So thanks, Judd.
Think.
Okay, Ruben Sierra was... He's a 14 WAR guy. He was a good player for a few... He was a really good player for a few years, though. Hold on one second. Just want to see if there's a WAR discrepancy here, because, I was going off Baseball Reference WAR. I'm just curious if Fangraphs corroborates this number. So Fangraphs has him as a 43 WAR player. Still pretty good.
Oh man.
Oh, this stinks.
Okay, this random twin played just 33 career games with the Minnesota Twins.
Only 33?
Mm-hmm.
Gold Glover.
No, that guy's not. No. Won a World Series.
It's interesting you bring up. Let's see here. Just want to corroborate this. Pretty sure he was teammates with Ruben Sierra. Yeah. He was teammates with Ruben Sierra.
As a Yankee? Or as a Twin? I mean,
I will say this. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it would take a while to go through the careers here. It's possible. He was for sure teammates with Ruben Sierra
okay.
at one time.
All right.
Maybe even multiple teams.
Oh boy.
His Twins manager was Ron Gardenhire.
Oh. Damn it.
Dude.
Here are the teams he played for. He played for, so Ruben Sierra played for
Reds,
Twins, Yankees, Rangers. This player did too, and also played for the A's, the Mets, and the Tigers. So he played for 6 different teams.
A's, Mets, Tigers, Twins, and who else?
Yeah, can you get
Yankees.
those?
The A's, the Rangers, the Yankees.
Rangers. That was the team. I
Okay.
needed.
Dude, who is this? Oh my God.
Yeah. He was, it's funny, according to what I've been reading here, he
feel
reportedly never formally retired from Major League Baseball. That he was, his last season, he was 43 years old, and he apparently never filed his actual retirement paperwork. So, I don't know, there's always a chance.
I can't believe I need more clues. Okay.
He's a little old now, to be probably playing Major League Baseball, but
4-time All-Star.
yeah.
Played for the A's, the Mets.
50 WAR, dude.
That's what's throwing me off.
This random twin is second all time in pickoffs with 93 pickoffs in his career.
I knew it. I knew this was a pitcher. 50 WAR.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, but not really at the same time.
Okay,
mildly surprised
hold
by
on
that.
a second. Hold on a second. I'm going to do Control F here.
Is this
Kenny
Kenny
Rogers.
Rogers?
Judd got it in. Judd got it in, dude. I think it was Judd.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Declan fired it up.
No,
and
you
I
got
just
it in.
blurted it out.
You got it in. We can go back to the replay. Maybe
No,
we
I
need
got it
lawyer
in.
Chase in.
I
I'm
got
pretty
it
sure
because
Judd
he
got it.
said
It's got to be
because
full
I
whoever
said
finishes
Kenny
the full
Rogers,
first and last name.
and Declan said, "Is this Kenny Rogers?"
Yeah.
He's a 50 WAR.
According to Baseball Reference, Fangraphs has him 43 WAR.
Nikes. Oh,
The
look
next
at
clue
this.
is going to be he shares the same name as a more famous person. And if you didn't get it there, I was going to say he knows when to hold them
Just go home.
and fold them.
Just go home. Wow.
Kenny Rogers. Let's go. The gambler, man.
50 WAR.
Yeah, so he was lights out for a few years. He
know,
had
but
a
still,
perfect game in like 1994.
Wow.
Kenny Rogers, man. Yeah,
Next
he
day
was
is ruined. He might go home now.
a great pitcher. So sorry, Declan. Better luck next time. And Random Twin of the Week. You'll be delivering clues next week. Dex is so mad.
I'm not even going to say anything.
The gambler. Kenny Rogers. All right, there's your Score North Twin show.
Know when to walk away.
You can catch extra innings with Declan probably later today.
Your money. Just sitting